morning, students of class 9. You are welcome back to the online classes. Today we are doing history, the French Revolution. We will continue our lesson. Since it is a vast lesson, we need to do part by part, and every part has got different events, different situation, different aspects. So now we will talk about 3.0. We have reached over here 3.0. France abolishes means remove. France abolishes monarchy and becomes a republic. So far in our previous class we have discussed and we have learned that the king, he has to give up his power and he had to follow the constitution formed by the National Assembly, and he became a constitutional monarchy. His power was distributed among various organs such as legislative, executive and judiciary. So now we will continue after that. Even after the making of constitutional monarchy, now the king had limited power. France became a constitutional monarchy. The king was only for the namesake. He had very limited power. He has to follow the constitution also. In France, even after making this constitutional monarchy, the creation of constitutional monarchy in France, the situation remained tense. The situation was not normal. It was still tense during the following years. During the following years, the situation was not normal. The situation was tense. What was the reason for that? Let us see the reason. Why there was still a tense now? Why the people of France were unrest? Why they were unrest? What was happening? Now king don't have the much power. He has got a limited power now. He has to follow the constitution. The country is governed by National Assembly, but still there was unrest and tense in France. Although Louis XVI, King Louis XVI, he was the ruler during this period. Although Louis XVI had signed the constitution, he had signed the constitution, gave up his power. His power was limited. He signed the constitution. He entered into secret negotiation with the king of Prussia. That was the reason. King Louis quietly had a talk with the king of Prussia. What was the talk about? He must have said, or he must have told the king of Prussia that my power has been taken and my power is limited now. Anytime they might take me out or throw me out, so I am in danger. The King Louis XVI had entered into secret, without known by other people, quietly, negotiation. Negotiation means talk. Communication, conversation, negotiation. Had a talk with the king, or had in touch with the king of Prussia. They were discussing among themselves. Today it is happening here. Tomorrow it will happen in your place. The next time it will happen somewhere else. We must unite together. All the kings must unite together. In this way they had a negotiation. Rulers of other neighboring countries, this negotiation with Louis XVI and Prussia, the king of Prussia, they had a negotiation, they had a talk. And from Prussia, the talk is spread to other countries also, among the kings. The rulers or the kings of other neighboring countries too were worried. They were worried by the development in France. What was happening in France with this development? They are creating National Assembly and the power of the king is limited. A constitutional monarchy was formed and later on any time the king will be thrown out. His power will be taken out, over. So, by the development in France, this type of development in France, other rulers were worried and made plans. Other rulers, neighboring countries, the rulers made plans to send troops, attack, send troops to put down the events, to stop these events, to dismiss the National Assembly, and the country must be handed over to King Louis XVI again. To put down these events, the other neighboring countries were planning to send troops to France. That had been taking place since 1789. After 1789, when king had to give up his power, National Assembly was created, constitution made, and the king had to follow the constitution in 1789. After that, these developments were taking place, and the neighboring countries, the ruler of the neighboring countries were planning to send troops to put down these events, to stop these events. So, before this could happen, means before the neighboring countries could send the troops in France, National Assembly of France, somehow they managed to come to know. The National Assembly, they managed to understand or know that the other countries are planning to send the troops to help King Louis XVI. So, before this could happen, before the foreign troops enter France, National Assembly declared war against Prussia and Austria. National Assembly declared war against Prussia, the king of Prussia, that country, and Austria. These two countries were very powerful. Prussia and Austria were very powerful. But still, France means the National Assembly now declared war against Prussia and Austria. Now let's see what happened. Thousands of volunteers, French young boys, thousands of volunteers joined the army. They were ready to serve the country. They were ready to fight for the country, ready to sacrifice their life for the country. They were called volunteers. They saw it as a war of the people against the kings and aristocracies. The people saw this as a fight between the people and the kings and the aristocracies and the nobles and ministers. We must fight and win. So, the volunteers joined the army. So, they saw this as a war of people against the king and aristocracies all over Europe, not only in France, all over Europe. This event took place. There was unrest. They sang patriotic songs. The volunteers, now here, this is a very important portion we have reached. How national anthem of France was created. Here. While the volunteers were marching, they were going to fight with Prussia and Austria. The volunteers, while they were marching, while they were going, the patriotic songs were patriotic songs were sung on the way. And among them, one was very important patriotic song, Marseillaise. They sang patriotic song, Marseillaise. Marseillaise, actually, it is a name of a place. From there, they started the march. So, they sang the patriotic song, Marseillaise. And this Marseillaise became the national anthem of France. Even today, the national song, Marseillaise, is sung. Remembering those volunteers to set their country free from this other monarchies. They were trying to attack France. That was the first war of people and the kings and aristocracies in France. So these volunteers sang patriotic songs, martialese, composed by the poet. This song was composed by the poet Roger D. Leslie. Roger D. Leslie wrote this poem, and these volunteers made it a song, and they sang the patriotic song Marshallese. This song became the national anthem of France, as they sang while going to war with Prussia and Austria. While they were marching from Marseilles onwards, they gathered there and they marched from there, all the volunteers, and they sang the patriotic song. And this song became their national anthem till today. So now, how national anthem of Marseilles of France was originated or created? How it was originated? What event was related with this national anthem? So here, the event, while the volunteers were going to war, going to fight with the troops of Prussia and Austria, they sang the patriotic songs, and that was the thing. So now that's all for today. We'll meet in the next class and continue our lesson. That is 3.0. We have read till here 5 points. So the France abolishes, remove monarchy. After that, the monarchy was removed later on, and it becomes a republic. Now republic means the people will vote and choose their representative, and they will become democratic country. So now that's all for today. We'll meet in the next class and carry on our lesson. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for today.